The Little School, 1986, is a memoir penned by Argentinian poet Alicia Partnoy, chronicling her harrowing ordeal of imprisonment and torture during her time as one of the disappeared dissidents under the dictatorship of Jorge Rafael Videla during the dirty war military junta regimes in the late 1970s. This period witnessed the brutal rounding up and abduction of an unprecedented number of civilians for their political beliefs, with the military regimes employing ruthless tactics. Videla, the dictator, justified these disappearances as a pragmatic method to eliminate dissent without resorting to public executions, in order to avoid unsettling Argentinian society. Partnoy's vivid portrayal of the covert detention center where she and others were held, euphemistically referred to as a little school, where they were subjected to so-called lessons, would later serve as evidence submitted to Argentina's Truth Commission. The narrative unfolds against the backdrop of Isabel Perón's ousting from power in 1976 by a military junta led by various dictators, including Videla. Partnoy, once an active participant in college politics and a dedicated Peronist and socialist, was not aligned with the radical and violent faction of the pro-Perón movement. Nevertheless, when radicalized Perón supporters engaged in guerrilla warfare against the army, Videla responded with a ruthless and indiscriminate campaign of suppression aimed at anyone associated with the Perón regime. In 1977, Partnoy was apprehended by the Argentinian military, forcibly separated from her 18-month-old daughter Ruth, who fortunately found refuge with relatives and survived this dark chapter in history. Sentenced without charges to the little school in her hometown of Bahia Blanca, Partnoy endured almost 4 months of captivity marked by being bound and blindfolded. She was isolated not only from her family but also from fellow prisoners sharing the same dire fate. Over time, the constant blindfold that was forced upon her developed a small hole that allowed her to catch glimpses of her surroundings, although communication remained nearly impossible due to the guards' strict prevention of any interaction among prisoners. The memoir offers us windows into the horrors experienced, overheard, and occasionally glimpsed by Partnoy. Brutal beatings and torture were inflicted on prisoners for almost any pretext, often for no reason whatsoever. The guards reveled in degrading, humiliating, sexually assaulting, and verbally abusing the prisoners, who frequently teetered on the brink of starvation. Among the most distressing aspects are the fates of 2 infants born within the prison's walls. These births underscore not only the disappearance of heavily pregnant women but also the uncertainty surrounding the fate of these innocent children, torn away from their mothers. In a later interview, Partnoy discloses that both mothers, like many prisoners, met their end, and their families continue to search for any trace of information about the missing babies. While the memoir lightly disguises the identities of the fellow inmates, its focus rests on how the author and those around her valiantly clung to their dignity and humanity in the face of the prison's relentless campaign to strip them of these very qualities. One prisoner endured torture by endlessly reciting a nursery rhyme, while another cherished a fragment of a broken tooth as a means of preserving her bodily integrity. Meanwhile, Partnoy discovered solace in the simplest sources of physical gratification, capturing raindrops on her palm through a leaky window and clandestinely storing pieces of bread beneath her pillow to savor in secret. In the narrative, she pens these moments with poetic elegance and beauty, resisting the erosion of dignity inherent in her harrowing experiences. Random moments of mercy occasionally punctuated the relentless brutality of the guards. On one occasion, she was unexpectedly granted access to a toothbrush, while on another day, she was allowed to recite poetry to her fellow prisoners. After 3.5 months in captivity, Partnoy's release from the little school was equally puzzling, as she was transferred to a state prison. Although conditions there remained dire, they paled in comparison to the torture and dehumanization she had endured in the clandestine detention facility. After spending 2 years in the state prison, Partnoy's release was again shrouded in mystery, allowing her to reunite with her daughter and family. The conclusion of The Little School includes several appendices in which Partnoy endeavors to outline as many specific details as she can recall about her fellow prisoners and the guards she encountered, information that would later serve as evidence during Videla's eventual trial. Videla passed away in prison in 2001. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.